What's up guys, Chris here. We're working on the full planning guide for December, but in this video, let's take a quick look at Aranea, and we're going to talk about whether or not you should be going for her, what teams and situations she's going to be really good in. I will throw this out there. I think she's actually pretty friendly for new players or budget players to build teams around. So if you're pulling for her or you luck into her, like trying out the gacha on a step up or something, we'll go over the cheapest way to make sure that she's going to be effective for you, and we'll talk about the vision card as well. Guys, she does not need her vision card to be good. In fact, getting her vision card or actually forcing her to use her vision card kind of pigeonholes her into a specific team build, but you also need some other cards that are part of the ice element maxed out if you're not planning on pulling for the magic tech armor. All that and more in this video. If you guys liked the video, take a flying dragoon leap at those buttons below. Let's talk about our favorite Final Fantasy 15 waifu. So Aranea, she's going to be an ice, pierce, and strike attacker. So she basically is built around pierce. Her vision card is built around pierce. Her Esper is going to be built around pierce, but she does have strike attack in her kit. And that's something to note because not a lot of teams are able to build against strike attack right now. So just having that extra attack type really helps her in doing damage. This is one of the reasons I really like the Fenrir card on her. You can see that I have this in the friends with benefits listed. Fenrir is going to be just a great general card. Almost all players, once you pull the vision card, you still have to pull it if you're a newer player, but once you do pull it, this is available to max out in the Mog Shop. Fenrir is a great beginner card, especially for ice teams. It's one of the reasons ice units are so great to build for new teams. So Fenrir will help her with that strike attack and that pierce attack, so that'll be a popular vision card you see in a lot of the teams that we run here. Now, is Aranea going to be a super meta PvP whatever unit? Not really. The reason why is because ice is in a fantastic element. It's a really good element. There's maybe like 7 or 8 different ice units, especially in global where you have Frievia on top of that. There's a lot of ice units that can be used in the meta for PvP, even at the top levels of PvP. When I've been in the top 100 or 50, you can see people using Frievia, Laswell, I've seen Oron, Gilgamesh. There's a lot of different units that get used. Velric's another one. The problem is that Aranea is a pierce strike attacker, and it's kind of like a weird spot since ice, slash, and magic is basically what it's all about because that's the teams that you can build around. So her just being a pierce strike attacker, maybe in the future as we get more tools that can help out strike attackers, that will be better for her, but right now she's kind of in that same spot as Barret where it's really hard to build specifically for her or build a team specifically around her. So that's why I say if you're going to build an ice pierce team, I think she'll be really good in an ice pierce team, and that'll be the first team that we cover when we get into the team builds here. But if you just have like a really strong ice account, you don't really need Aranea. She's not going to provide anything. That said, in the units that we have listed down there, I have Victoria because she's a really good ice pierce unit. She's going to pair with Aranea and her vision card really well. And if you're going to build a team entirely around ice pierce, Laswell also can do pierce damage with his Dragoon sub job. So it's going to be basically Aranea, Laswell, Victoria. That's like your options when it comes right down to it. But again, ice pierce, maybe not the best thing to build around right now. Certainly there are ways in which you can use her in really good PvP teams, but she's going to be more of like a PvE unit right now until Ice and Pierce is a lot easier to build around. That's why I have Pass for everyone else. And I know she's a really cool looking unit. And we're also going to talk about it maybe if you throw a couple of pulls or you're really low on Visuor and you do end up pulling her, we're going to talk about in the last part of this video what you can do if you don't pull for her vision card, because you definitely don't need her Esper and vision card. The last team we'll talk about, and actually this will be the second team after this first team, is we're going to talk about new players. So if you're starting today or starting this week, or maybe you just started, I think there's actually an avenue where you could go for Aranea and another unit coming up and have a really good start on an account. So we'll talk about that as we get into the second team that we talk about. Lastly, I want to look at those vision cards. Obviously this Magitech card right here, that's going to be her vision card in Esper that is going to be paired with her. pretty much built specifically for her. This Freezies card is a really good card for a lot of ice teams. It is a magic card, so you're gonna have to put a magic unit. So you see Rosa here, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Frievia, another super powerful, super popular ice unit that if you maybe have Frievia and not her vision card too, you could also throw in Frievia's vision card. Again, ice, there's so many good vision cards and units. This is the thing about Aranea, and I just want to stress that when we talk about the 3 teams in this video, there's so many ways to build ice teams. Don't think that these ice teams in here are going to be the best way. There's so many different variations you could do. Lastly, this Laswell vision card, it's like, I said this when the card came out, it's like one of the best vision cards in the game, elemental vision cards, let alone for ice units. It's certainly the best ice card because it's so general. It provides agility, critical attack, or something like that. It provides such good general buffs. This is one of the best cards in the game, especially for ice teams, so you'll see this in a lot of these builds as well. All right, let's get into the first team here. And the first team, this is like, if you're just saying, we're going straight out for Ice Pierce, and these are going to be the 3 units that have the easiest access to pierce damage as ice units: Aranea, Victora, Laswell. The thing I don't like about this team is that to really be max power with this team, you'll need 2 +5 ice lances. You'll need 1 for Aranea, 1 for Victora, and then you also need a +5 purple lightning for Laswell. So this can be kind of a high barrier of entry, but if you're really trying to push that ice pierce team, this is certainly the way to go. You see Laswell with Laswell's card, you see Aranea using her Esper and Vision card. I'm going to talk about Ifrit in a second. Victoria using Ifrit and Fenrir. So we talked about Fenrir and Laswell's cards. You can see the buffs over here on the right. So Laswell's card, that agility +15, acquired AP, man-eater on physical attack, such a good card for ice teams. This is going to be like your optimal ice pierce team right here. Ifrit is another option, so we'll talk about this in the 3rd team, but Ifrit is a pretty good Esper that you can use on Aranea. I like the idea of actually putting Ice Killer on it, so you can see that down here on Victoria's build where I have her Esper as Ifrit, because this would allow you to fight those mirror matches a lot better. So you could have 1 unit in here that's basically an absolute killer in mirror matches if you fight other ice teams. So that's just something to look at. A lot of nasty attacking buffs here. A couple cool things. You have AoE resist +20. You have magic resist +20 on this build. So Black Witch Helena is not going to be much of a problem for you, or these units that have these giant AoE magic attacks. You'll have a lot of resistance against that. Of course, Fancy Glaciella. Aranea has some minus magic resist, as we saw on that previous slide. So, you know, Cinderella Glaciella, she's going to absolutely roast a team like this, probably even with that magic resist and that AoE resist. But you're probably not wanting to go up against her or in units like Rain anyway. All right, moving on to the second team, we have Winter is Coming. So this is if you're a brand new player, and you might be really surprised to see Rosa here, but I think if you're re-rolling an account, or you're like a new player, you want to re-roll an account to get Aranea, I think this would be a really good duo to go for. Much like we talked about with Final Fantasy VII, where you had Charlotte and Cloud being a really strong duo that you could pull for right off the bat on a new team, or even recently, maybe you had Elena and Jaden, or even more recently, maybe you went for like Halloween Frederica, Oberon, or Oberon Noctis. Pairs like that. I think Rosa is a really underrated unit, not because she's like a super PvP meta unit, but because she is a healer, which can help you in a lot of brutal difficulty challenges. She has full life. There's a lot of things that Rosa can do that can help new players who don't already have a lot of those tools. So if you're a brand new player, if you re-roll until you get Aranea, and then you get Victora with your free 99, and then you could go for Rosa, I think that within about a month and a half, you could have an actually pretty strong team if you look at this. And the one problem is going to be that Freezies vision card I have on Rosa. But again, like we talked about, there's a lot of different ice magic vision cards you could slot in here. This is going to be the best, but that's going to be the only thing that's going to be difficult to get for a new player. The rest of this you can get pretty easily. You should be able to get Shiva and Ifrit pretty easily. The Fenrir card you can build in the Mog Shop really easily. So this is a team that actually, like, new player free to play, if like you start an account this week, you could actually get this pretty easily, this team, and it's gonna be pretty solid. It's not gonna be like a world beating team, but it's going to be a really good team. You can see all the buffs again there on the right. Lastly, let's talk about maybe you pull Aranea. You don't have a ton of Visual, you just threw a couple pulls because, hey, she's a cool unit, maybe I get her. But you don't really want to run the ESPER. Actually, I forgot to replace the ESPER here, but throw Ifrit right there for Aranea. You can pretty much pair Aranea with any other 2 units. You do not have to press her Pierce attack. And I just kind of threw in Gilgamesh as a really good ice unit, and then yes, the lewd version of Valentine Solir here, the Japanese version that we don't get to see in global. So basically pairing Aranea with any magic ice unit, if you have this Freezies card, or any physical ice unit, as you can see, you can actually just push normal attack through the Fenrir card. You can push agility and Maneater through this, and then you can just push ice attack through the Freezies card. So if you do have like these 3 vision cards and a strong ice account, you don't have to press her Pierce attack. You can certainly just press ice attack and her base attack. This will allow her to do a lot of damage using both strike damage and pierce damage, allowing you to combat a bunch of different teams, be pretty effective in a lot of different raids as well. Basically, she's going to be a little bit harder to build around, that she doesn't have slash anywhere in her kit, but she can continue ice chain. So if you have like kind of a mishmash ice account, Aranea can be good for that. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments section below if you guys are pulling for Aranea. She is a unit that I really like. Personally, I'm going to throw again 4,000 right at the start of that step up. We'll pull 3 pulls. If we get her, great. If not, then we'll just keep saving up for the Final Fantasy VI collab. You guys know I'm excited about that. I'm going to be all over that. That's what I'm saving up for. So I'll throw 4,000 at Aranea and hope we get her. If not, nothing lost. Oh, also, before I forget, if you guys do decide to purchase Visual in order to go after Aranea, please decide to do it through the Amazon App Store and use the link in the description below. Helps out the channel a little bit, and also you can actually get up to 20% off using Amazon coins also. Let me know in the comments section below what teams you guys are looking forward to building around Aranea, and thanks for watching, guys. We will catch you next time.